Right?
Ready? Okay, I'd like to bring this meeting to order. The Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees meeting, August 26th, 2024. Clerk Konecki, please call the roll.
Trustee Alfano.
Here.
Trustee Cordova.
Here.
Trustee Corkery.
Here.
Trustee Kozar.
Here.
Trustee Kumar. Trustee Patrick.
Here.
President Kazone.
Here. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. May we have meaningful discussions that will help us to assist our village in these trying times. Help us to make the decisions that will affect the staff, directors, and residents of Villa Park. Guide us through the challenges we face, and may we approach each other with respect and kindness as one group. In your name, amen. Okay, item 3, amendments to the agenda. Do we have any amendments tonight? Okay, seeing none. Public comments on agenda items. Do we have anyone signed up?
I have no one signed up.
Anyone? Public comments on agenda items? Okay, item 5, public comments on non-agenda items.
Yes, we have Bob Gardner.
Evening. Thanks for the opportunity. First of all, I'd like to say that I live on Elm Street, and I've been here before, about 18 months, I think. The section between Ardmore and Addison Road. I'm not a spokesperson for the residents. I have my own opinions. I've talked with neighbors. They have similar concerns, but it's not something that I can tell you X amount of people say this or hope for this. I also want to thank Mr. Guerrero for the time about a month ago when he explained to me the intention, the plan, that would be a renovation. I've talked to some of our neighbors, and overwhelmingly there's disappointment. There's disappointment in the plan, not for its intention, not for its quality, not that it isn't a good plan. It's simply out in the future, 4 years, and we all know projects just don't usually happen on time, so we'll say 4 years at best. It's not really a fully improved plan. Curbs are not part of it, traditional curbs that would identify it in the same way any other street would be identified. The concerns were basically too far out, won't see any results for several years. That's more important to some of us as time goes on. Also, disappointment that it wouldn't be a full improvement. And so, what do I want? What I'm hoping is that there's reconsideration on the timing. It could be rationalized, in my mind at least, like it's been so long since something was done on that street, besides patching, that maybe it deserves to be pushed up on the agendas that are part of the short-term, long-term program. That may not be reasonable, it may not be fair. It may be that the other projects are deemed more important or more affordable. Okay, if that's the case, I just know and recommend and ask to be considered that it be resurfaced. It has to be the least expensive short-term investment. That was done 40 years ago, and I know because I was looking out the window when it was done, and it lasted for several years. I don't know exactly, but my guess is between 10 and 15 years. So amortized over that time, the investment was pretty minimal for a street that looked better, drove better, looked better, and et cetera. So that's my request or my thought. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, anyone else? Public comments on non-agenda items? Okay, seeing none. Item 6, proclamations, we have none, and item 7, we have no presentations tonight. Item 8A is an appointment to the commissions. We're inducting Ivan Figueroa.
Figueroa,
I'm s-
I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Figueroa.
As a junior member of the Environmental Concerns Commission for a term of 1 year. and inducting Azana P. Jackson as a junior member of the Community Fund Commission for a term of 1 year. And we have a motion for the appointment to the commissions. Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay, questions or comments? Okay. Trustee Kumar?
I've had the pleasure of working with Azana, and she's a wonderful girl, and I also hope that this opens up a real good thing for people. I'm sorry, my voice is going, for all people of Villa Park, especially our students, to get involved with public service. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, anyone else? Okay. Clerk Konecki?
Okay, trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, item 9 is our consent agenda. 9A is bill listings for the week of August 12th and 19th, 2024, in the amount of $99,277.89. And 9B is approval of the minutes of the August 12th Committee of the Whole and the Village Board of Trustees meeting. And we have a motion for the consent agenda. Trustee Kumar, we have a second. Trustee Cordova?
Yep.
Questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Konecki, please.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, item 10A is an ordinance for a first reading. It's an ordinance adopting various amendments to the Villa Park Municipal Code implicating Chapters 2, Administration, Chapter 3, Alcoholic Liquor, Chapter 4, Amusements, Chapter 7, Buildings and Building Regulations, Chapter 9, Fire Prevention and Protection, Chapter 10, Garbage and Trash, Chapter 13, Licenses, Permits, and Business Regulations, Chapter 15, Nuisances, Chapter 18, Planning and Development, Chapter 25, Waters, Sewer, and Sewage Disposal, and Chapter 26, Adjudication. Manager Harlang.
This ordinance will correct commission names, personal titles, and department names utilized by the village, eliminate the requirement of a court reporter for Planning and Zoning Commission in favor of a recording secretary, eliminate annual reports by the commission, eliminate the required deposits for commission cases which are continued, and clarifying the role of Board of Trustees. A lot of this has to do with changing titles as well, so that there's not redundant, so there are not different ways the same title is used in different sections, such as the Director of Public Works versus Public Works Director, et cetera.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Recommended, the staff recommends either giving it a second reading at the next meeting or passage of the ordinance.
okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion? Oh, no motion. Unless we have a motion for waiving the first reading. Trustee Kumar.
I'm just making a motion for the ordinance. I'm not going to make a motion to waive the first.
You're not? Okay, all right, since this is a first reading, we won't have a motion, okay? Unless someone wants to waive the first reading.
Did you want
Did you want to say?
Pardon me?
Did you want anything else?
Sure, just an additional comment. When this comes before the board for second reading, there may be an additional title change for the position. Nothing substantive, but it will just be slightly different from the ordinance that you see here today. And it will clarify specifically with respect to the Director of Community and Economic Development. It will make sure that that position is defined, and then clarify the reference to that position throughout the code, but nothing of substance.
Okay, any questions, comments? Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. One question or comment that I have, it says eliminate the requirement of a court reporter for Planning and Zoning Commission in favor of a recording secretary. Is there any way that we could get a job description or what the duties of the recording secretary will be?
We can. The recording secretary will be actually a staff position where someone who will sit here on our staff already and will be doing proper minutes. So in lieu of a video, they'll actually have the ability to reference minutes. Because with a court reporter, we're eliminating the transcript, but we still want to have a record of the minutes that are happening. But yes, we can establish a recording secretary write-up, absolutely.
Okay, I think that clarifies my question a little bit about more or less who that position, who's going to fill that position and what it entails. So yeah, that answered my question. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
We're not creating a new job.
No.
Trustee Kozar.
I'm glad that you're making that change. I know we've talked about it. It's very often an unneeded expense, and it prevents people from making a simple variance like we've had before here, where they're just asking for like 1 foot, but it costs them $1,800 to do it.
Right.
So this is a good move. I think makes it more efficient and more neighborhood friendly. Yeah. So thank you.
Okay. Trustee Patrick.
And one last question for you. It says eliminate annual reports by the commission. Is that just P and Z or is that all commissions?
The Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay.
There was an
Thank you.
annual report that was required from the chair, but now that is actually just the staff annual of all the petitions that got approved that year. So it's handled differently since the code was originally adopted.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we will bring that up at our September 9th meeting for second reading. Okay, item 10B is an ordinance amending section 3-313A of Chapter 3 of the Villa Park Municipal Code in order to increase by 1 the maximum number of licenses permitted under the Class AAA liquor license classification. Manager Harline.
This ordinance will add a Class 3A license, increasing the total to 4 Class AAA licenses, liquor licenses. Liquor Commission has approved the issuance of this license, and the Liquor Commissioner has approved the background check.
Okay, thank you. As it said in the packet, this is for 24 East St. Charles, which the owner had come in here several months ago with his proposal, and I think we got a consensus from the board to approve that. So he is currently reconstructing the building. He's doing quite a bit. I walked through the building the other day, and there's quite a bit of work going on in there, so it looks good. Trustee Kozar.
Do we have a motion for it yet, or are we in discussion?
This is first reading, so
Oh,
if you can...
just first reading,
Yeah,
okay.
correct.
So once you get a liquor license, how long do you have until you have to start utilizing that liquor license? Like, he's still doing construction, right?
Yeah, okay, what's it, 90?
So there's 90 days.
90 days.
Yeah, from this point, it's supposed to go into, you're supposed to start use of the license within 90
So
days.
are we too early for it, or will he be ready to go in 90 days if he's still doing construction, needs his occupancy?
Director McLaughlin? He's...
Right, just, because if we give it to 90 and he has any kind of issues, right, okay.
Director McLaughlin is checking the status of construction.
It's a double-edged sword, too, because if he's doing all this work, not just him, but anybody, if they're doing all this work, they want to know that they're going to get a liquor license. You know, they don't want to go through all of it and then find out they're not going to get one. Not that we're not amenable to it. I mean, it seems like it from the consensus from before, but
Yeah, we've given this some discussion at the staff level of how to make sure that somebody can get enough of insurance to start putting an investment into their business, but without so much of assurance that the board is obligating a decision before they actually make that decision. So there's 2 90-day periods. One is after the approval by the commissioner of the background check, and then there's a second 90-day after the approval of the ordinance approving the addition of a license. And once they're awarded the license, they have 90 days until they have to use it. So there is it's after the issuance of the license. So there is some leeway in how quickly we sign the license. And we're trying to make sure that we don't put somebody in that situation, so.
I see. So even if we all vote on it in favor of getting the liquor license, he can just hold off for another month or two before he actually applies or obtains the license itself, and then the 90-day kicks in.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're-
So that's better.
Yeah,
Yeah, and as far as timing goes, they waited until they got their rough approvals before we move forward with the adoption of the liquor license, which is before you tonight. So I'm assuming they have their own internal 90-day clock that they can final the building in this amount of time.
Okay.
Yeah, just checked, all roughs have passed, so.
At a minimum, they can have it all ready to go. The license can be sitting there for them to pick up, and
They could,
if
yeah.
they just don't pick it up, clock hasn't started ticking.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
This is one of those scenarios, as Manager Highline was talking about, we're trying to thread the needle between expending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a potential remodel or property acquisition without the guarantee of a liquor license, but you can't have a liquor license as a guarantee until you have a property.
Right.
So, yeah,
All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or comment? Trustee Alfano?
Just to clarify on that, that's a state regulation, the 90 days?
I believe it's a state and it's our own regulations. I think because we mirror the state on that.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, item 10C, an ordinance amending section 14-220 of the Villa Park Municipal Code regarding fines for violations of Chapter 14 regarding motor vehicles and traffic. Manager Harline.
This ordinance updates the fines associated with motor vehicle equipment violation for failure to wear a seatbelt as provided for in the relevant provisions of the Illinois Vehicle Code 625 ILCS 5/12-603.1. Staff recommends approval of the ordinance. This keeps us up to date with a law that was changed in the past, and we're making our municipal code agree with state code.
Thank you. Okay, any questions or comments on the ordinance? Item 10C. Trustee Kumar.
I'm not against the ordinance. I think $25 is low. I realize that's what the state has set, so we have no option. But I do think seatbelts save lives. So I just want to say that doesn't seem to give anybody real incentive to seatbelts.
Okay, anyone else? Trustee Alfano.
So that $25 fee, it doesn't seem to matter how many violations somebody might have had. So let's say you have one seatbelt violation, and then you have another seatbelt violation, another one, it doesn't matter.
Police Chief Rivas.
In doing some further research, you can notice that if it's a couple of different violations, they can up the fine, as well court costs will be applied.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to item 10D. Is an ordinance amending section 2-406 of chapter 2 of the Villa Park Municipal Code regarding the order of business for meetings of the village president and board of trustees. Manager Harling.
This ordinance, if adopted, would amend Section 2-406 of the Village Code regarding the order of business for meetings of the village president and board of trustees. In order to remove the two-reading requirement for ordinances that amend the village code, staff recommends approval of the ordinance. It's basically, we had a number of ordinances that were being voted on for single read, so we brought that before the board just in case you wanted to streamline the process. There's no state requirement of having two readings.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions on the ordinance?
I do have a
Trustee
couple of
Alfano.
questions. Thank you. Was it staff then that asked for this to be on the agenda, or was it trustees?
It was staff. I mean, talking with our attorney, Ms. Wolf, we had noticed that this was not being, our goal here is to make sure that we're consistent, that if we have an ordinance that says give two readings for changes to the code, we should do that except for in special cases, or we should, just make it one reading because that's not it's not required to have two readings by state code.
And also, I understand what you're saying about the consistency part, but I also then worry about the transparency part, because as a resident before I became a board member, it was the second reading where I would be able to contact people that I wanted to contact if I had something to say about anything, any ordinance that was coming up. So that was just my statement and my ideas on that, my discussion piece.
Yeah.
And so just following up through with that, it was a legal recommendation to bring the issue to the board because of the fact that there were many motions to waive first reading. And that's totally within this board's authority to do so. But I recommended that this ordinance be presented so that there could be some direction from the board if there was a desire to change that two reading requirement. But if there isn't, that's perfectly fine, and the order of business can stay as is. But now's the time to have the appropriate discussion, because if we don't want this matter, if we don't want it changed, you should let us know now so that, we don't have to present it for second reading. It can be removed.
And, if it comes to the point where there's something that you really want a discussion, we can always postpone the reading on it. Trustee Kumar?
I actually prefer the option of the board to suggest whether we waive the reading or not, as we have been doing in the past. It gives the residents time, as Trustee Alfano said, to get back to us on issues. It's kind of a signal to the residents, in my opinion, that yes, we want your opinion at this point, please weigh in. And I think it's important for us to have that kind of communication in an open way. If someone is watching, then they know this is a topic that, yes, we want to have your input. Now, whether they choose to input or not, that's the resident's option.
Okay. Trustee Corkery?
I agree. I won't support this if it comes back. Just put it out there.
Trustee Alfano?
So I also think, because one of our goals in our strategic plan is that civic engagement piece, I think having that second reading is an important step in that strategic plan.
Okay. Trustee Patrick?
I also will agree with the trustees at the other end down there, Alfano, Kumar, and Corkery. I believe it gives us an option also to extend the discussion a little further, allowing us to reach out to our constituents and also be able to address their concerns with this. So I'm in agreeance.
Trustee Kozar?
So what ordinances for our village require a second reading and what ordinances don't? Like, what's the benchmark there?
So those ordinances that will actually make a change to the village code require two readings under our village code right now. Any ordinance, for instance, if there's an ordinance to approve an easement agreement or real estate, that's not making a change to village code. That can be, that's approved via one reading. But anything that actually makes a change to the law of the village, being the village code, requires two readings.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we have no ordinances for second reading. Item 12A is an ordinance approving a variation for a deck within a front yard setback for the property located at 580 East Colberg Court. Mayor Harlan.
This ordinance approves petition PZ 24-12 for a variation to allow a deck within a front yard setback located at 580 East Colborne Court as per Exhibits A and B. Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the ordinance? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano?
Yes, I'll second.
Yeah, this is similar to other ones that we've had in the past. It's a corner lot with the front yard actually should be the side yard kind of thing. And it passed P&Z pretty easily, so. Trustee Kumar.
I have a question for staff. We get these very similar things in terms of the requirements. I'd like to see like some kind of data at one point on the similar types of things that come up, how many are coming up, just so maybe we can change the code in some way to make it easier to run these through at one point. Just a thought, not in a rush. You got a good 6 months, but, you know, if we could get that data, would be helpful.
Yeah, we have already started drafting new language regarding the required variations regarding the nonconformities. That's what we've seen quite a few of this entire year, and so we'll be bringing forward language at the next Planning and Zoning Commission for that, so you guys will see that in about 6 weeks.
Okay.
But this particular request is a type of request that we haven't seen yet this year.
Okay.
It's as Village President pointed out, it's a unique situation where their front yard is really their side yard, and their front yard operates like their backyard. It's goofy, but we have not seen this request, so one, analysis done.
We get a lot of them which are billed right on
Yes.
top.
Yep.
So I just like to see how much that is. It
Yeah.
also tells us kind of how much our town is developing.
Oh, sure.
Is data I'd love to see.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay. Clerk Kornecki, please.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, item 13A is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a contract with Strata Construction Company of Addison, Illinois, for construction of the 2024 sidewalk program in an amount of $279,925. Manager Harline.
This resolution authorizes the village president to execute a contract for the construction of the 2024 sidewalk program. The project was publicly advertised and competitively bid, with a bid opening held on August 6, 2024. The village received 7 bids, and the lowest responsible bid submitted by Strata Construction Company of Addison, Illinois, in the amount of $279,925 was chosen. Staff recommends approval of a resolution to award the contract to Strata Construction for the sidewalk program.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Alfano?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second? Trustee Patrick? Okay, questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, item 13B is a resolution authorizing the execution of a change order regarding an adjustment to the scope of the electrical contract for the new recreation center. Manager Harling.
This resolution authorizes the village manager to execute prime contract change order number 028 on behalf of the village in substantially the form attached hereto to adjust the total contract amount with J. Hamilton Electric for furnishing, delivery, and installation of electrical works and supplies for the construction of the new Villa Park Recreation Center. This adjustment reduces the amount of the contract by $86,101 for the work done by the previous contractor. Staff recommends approval of the resolution.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Cordova? We have a second? Trustee Alfano?
I'll second.
Okay, questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Item 13C is a resolution adopting a social media site policy for the Village of Villa Park. Manager Harline.
As part of the Commissioner's Handbook review, the board requested the staff to evaluate the village's current social media policy for updates. The current social media policy was adopted in 2012. Since that time, there have been significant changes in the way the village uses social media to communicate information and interact with residents. The proposed policy outlines the terms of use, prohibited content, and disclaimers as they apply to all village social media accounts. Staff recommends approval of this resolution. We did not this time include the existing policy. We started from scratch, and so I know that a couple asked about a red line. We basically changed the entire policy, so it would have been essentially redlining the entire previous policy. That policy, as you recall, was in the packet 2 weeks ago, and we caused some confusion, so we left it out this time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Cordova?
Thing that has been thought of, and we believe would be a better program for a couple of reasons. It puts firefighters in a lot of commercial buildings ahead of if there was some event there, and they would be able to walk through and see it and become familiar with that building before there was an emergency. So that's one of the advantages. And then we also have the Deputy Chief Frank Reposh here if you have any questions or if you wanted to add anything. This is also working in conjunction with the Community and Economic Development Department, so they will be they will be directing the staff on these inspections. This will give us a better inspection program and also a little bit of revenue for firefighters. So,
Thank you. Chief, did you want to say anything? Okay. Okay. Trustee Patrick.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano?
Second.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Trustee Cordova?
Just a logistics question. As you go through these buildings, is there going to be a database of sorts or a catalog of, here's this building in this, I don't know who's going to answer, but just like a catalog of the building on notes and takeaways or whatnot? Like, or is it just walking through to walk through and understand what's there? And if it's in a packet, yeah, I'm having a password issue
I thought
today.
maybe he was going to come to this and you were going to do it like Harmony.
So just to clarify, as part of the 2021 building code adoption, we allocated that fire inspections are under community and economic development, where currently they are under fire. But this was one of those changes to make the inspection team be all under the inspection supervisor.
Got it.
So just for clarity, so that's why we're waiting for the retirement, for this to happen.
And then new, yep.
Exactly,
okay.
correct, yep.
Yep, that was it. Perfect. Yep, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Clerk Henneke, please.
Okay, Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
Trustee Corkery,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano.
Yes.
President Casone.
Yes. Item 13E is a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Villa Park and DuPage High School District 88 regarding standby medical services at Willowbrook High School football games for the 2024 football season. Manager Harline.
This resolution authorizes the village president to execute an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Villa Park and DuPage High School District 88 for the provision of basic life support services during Willowbrook High School home football games. All parties have agreed to the terms of the IGA, and staff recommends approval of this resolution. Just a couple clarifying points. We won't be putting an ambulance there. Ambulance support would be provided ideally from Station 81 if that was necessary, but there would be on-site paramedics who would be able to respond to calls on site, and then if a transport was needed, that would be provided. I probably should let Deputy Chief Brandon Mitsuka answer any questions or give any more details. We did this on an unofficial basis last year with just sort of we did have a signed agreement, but it was it's this much better to do it this way by bringing it before the board. Protects both parties much better. And, it's a nice way to support our community.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Cordova?
Yep, I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a second. Trustee Alfano?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Trustee Alfano?
I do have a question. I think I probably know most of the answers. The definition of basic life support services,
I will definitely leave that up to the chief.
especially in a football games.
As paramedics, we are trained to the advanced life support, cardiac monitoring, extensive drug use, things like that. Basic life support is pretty much basic first aid. So it's first responder type things. We do carry just a few medications and some AEDs, but it's not as intense as like a regular ambulance stock. So we're just there to take care of those first needs. We'll give the guys radios. They'll radio down, hey, I need an ambulance. That way we're not tying up a unit for other care in the village.
Okay. And that's not just for the players, but that's also for people
No, it's
who
for
are in the
everybody.
stands, right?
And last year, I looked it up this morning, last year, we didn't have any transports out of there, which doesn't mean we didn't take care of, some bumps and bruises and scrapes
Sure.
and whatnot, so.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Trustee Patrick?
I just want to say I really appreciate this. I
thanks.
think this is such a benefit to the community, especially at what events like Willowbrook holds, like recently with Silver and Blue Night, and everybody that's in attendance there. So I just want to say I really appreciate this. Thank you for bringing this to us.
Thank you. And our guys really enjoy being there. They like being at the football games, they like being, with the community, so it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
Okay. Trustee Kumar?
I like the fact that we are reaching out to the district and doing things in the village, kind of kind of with our community outreach through our strategic plan. This is one more factor that plays into that, so thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Casone?
Yes. Okay, item 14A, unfinished business is the flag status. Major Harline.
Just real quickly, we have been able to put up a temporary flag on the Ardmore side of Village Hall. It's an imperfect solution. It is lighted, but it does get tangled in a windy situation. So we continue to work towards getting a more permanent solution. We're getting costs of a lighted sign in front of the Village Hall, and then we'll be working on a plan for how to provide the electric to that area and what amperage is needed to run a light and a sign as we go through the budget process. Our plan is to have it in place. We can have the sign, or we can have the flag and the light in place before we put in a sign, but we need to make sure we don't prevent the sign by where we put the flag. So we need to make sure it also doesn't get tangled in the trees there, so.
Thank you. Anyone have any? Trustee Kumar?
I'm fine with the flag status, but I want to add one thing to unfinished business, which is kind of the programs we're going to have at the new community center, pricing and discussion.
Let's bring that up if there's any discussion for the flag first.
Okay.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes, I want to thank the village. I know that there was a big time gap in there. But once we started discussing it here, I want to thank the village and staff for making that happen quickly once we had that discussion. I know it's not the perfect solution that we want, but I do know that there are many residents that have already reached out and just wanted me to extend the thanks because it did matter to them. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other comments on the flag? Okay, Trustee Kumar?
Yeah, with the unfinished business, I just want to add a tagline that sits here like the flag status, a status on programs and pricing at the community center, a discussion on that I would like to see. I know that Parks and Rec is working hard to come up and decide these matters. I know they had a meeting on that and I saw that. So I just want an update on various factors.
Okay. Yeah, Director Gola.
Good evening, thank you. We discussed some of the pricing structure and hours I don't know if we touched upon the hours, but at the last Recreation Commission meeting, we're going to bring it up again at the next Recreation Commission meeting, get more involved with some of the park districts and rec centers and what they're charging and their hours. And then we're open for, if we want to do a discussion on a COW meeting or to discuss programming and that type. I know staff is already working on new programs that we want to have over there.
Yeah, I just want to leave that in unfinished business so we have a consistent update on this factor. I do not know if any of the other trustees would be interested in that, but I personally think it's important that we are updated. We're very excited about the new community center. As you all know, our attendance at Lufkin showed that how much we love parks and rec activities and what they're doing, and how much the residents value it also. So I think it's important to keep that dialogue going. Just a short, just like we said with the flag is up, just a short kind of continued discussion, so it also opens up to the residents what's happening, when it's happening. It works also in a marketing way. So I think we need to keep that on the agenda.
Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. So while we're talking about the new recreation center, I saw an email that came out recently that said that we're going to be discussing, our Parks and Rec Commission might be discussing flooring and things like that. One thing that I would recommend, and I hope that we could bring up at the next Parks and Recreation Commission meeting regarding the flooring, especially related to the gym, is how do we get our village logo at Center Court? I think that's something that would set us apart, and that's something that we should do. If you go to other municipalities or other gyms, they also have a main court like we're going to have at the new recreation center and have our logo in the center of the court. I think that's something that we should talk about.
Definitely. We agree. We're working on something, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. I would agree with Trustee Kumar's idea of having this just kind of on unfinished business, just so that we can update residents and they can hear that. And I do think that that would not only generate that marketing piece, but again, that civic engagement piece, because people are excited and are using Lufkin, and I think that we might find people are kind of coming out, and you're starting to see more people reach out to you, maybe not being able to come to a meeting, but reaching out and saying, hey, here are the things that we're thinking about.
Yeah, we're open for suggestions and ideas, and there's a lot of talent out there that if they want to lend their talents to classes or anything, we're all for it, yes.
I love that, thank you.
So we'll update periodically, and as soon as we get more information, hopefully by the next meeting or two, for sure.
I also have something else for unfinished business, but I don't know if anybody else had anything.
Okay, yeah, let's finish that. Manager Herman.
Just, I mean, would you like just a sort of a general rec center update? Which, I mean, we put that in the weekly reports and that sort of thing, but every 2 weeks, if you'd want to, I mean, what I'm hearing is part of the reason is not just because you want to find out, but you want it to be broadcast at the village meeting because you guys don't recite the weekly reports out in the meeting, so we could bring other updates on the rec center as well, if that's in keeping with the spirit of the request.
Okay.
It's,
Trustee Kumar.
I believe that's keeping with spirit of the request, certainly, to give an update as well. But on top of that, I think there's some concern on pricing and programming that we've had for some time, and we're waiting. I know it takes time to address those issues, but just keeping it on the agenda keeps it fresh in everybody's mind. Everybody's just super excited, and it's something to, definitely push. I mean, that's the first thing. As soon as they saw all the stuff at Lufkin, I see all that activity there. The kids are out there in this heat. They're loving the water park. I did have a question about that, too. Does the water shut off? Because sometimes it seems like it's running all the time.
It does. It does. It's just that it's been used a lot. It's a 10-minute timer, and I think that we're leaving it. Right now, we can shorten that timer, but when we were there for the grand reopening event, I don't think it ever. I knew at least one kid was sitting there waiting to turn it on every time it started to slow down. So.
It is on a timer, and then it's scheduled to go off at
I did
7 o'clock in the evenings.
Yeah, I saw that it shuts off at 7. I saw that it was shut off, but I'm driving by there. There was no one there for a little bit, but maybe some kid is just pressing the button or running off, whatever it is. But it is well used.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, it looks like a favorite piece of Villa Park right now, so.
Okay.
But the fact that you asked that question just gives another point of how much it's being used, so I appreciate the question.
Trustee Alfano, did you want to bring something else up?
Yeah, I mentioned at the last meeting that with the pool season ending, and I know that it's going to be officially ending here fairly soon, I have requested a tour. I'd like to know how I would, and who I would schedule that with.
Yeah, you can go through me or go directly to Greg, just give us some dates and times when you.
Yeah, just whenever, after, do you know when the pool's going to be drained? Because I do want to see it before the liner goes in, but after it's drained.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know what the timing is on that, but if you can keep me informed on that, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, the season is supposed to end September 1st.
Okay.
And we'll talk to Brian about when he's planning on draining it, and we can for sure extend a few dates for you, and anybody else that would like to come and check out the pool. I know years ago, it had 50 years of paint, layers of paint, and we took all that down to the concrete shell. And Brian was using this new epoxy paint that kind of stopped leaking and everything. It was a very good product. But anyway, we'll, once we get a specific date, we can contact you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We'll send a email out to everybody.
There's a picture that Director Gola has of the paint after it was removed. It was about the size of a VW bus, or a bug.
There was a lot.
It was a big pile. Not a bus, but a beetle.
A beetle. Yeah. There you go. Thanks. Okay, no more unfinished business. We'll move on to 15, new business. Do we have any new business? Okay, village commission reports. Okay, the minutes of the June 11th, 2024 and July 9th, 2024 Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission meetings. Minutes of the June 27th, 2024 Environmental Concerns Commissions. Approval of the minutes of the June 27th Environmental Concern Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit meeting, and the minutes of the Special Strategic Planning meeting on June 29th, 2024. And the Planning and Zoning Commission report by Chairperson Jason Jarrett for August 8th, 2024, public hearing PZ 24-12, 580 East Colbert Court. And those are all in our packets tonight. We'll move on to item 17, Village Clerk's report.
No report today.
Okay, Village Trustees report. We will start on our right. Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. So I have a few things tonight. So my oldest son is now a freshman at Willowbrook High School, and I'm very proud of this. I've got a couple more kids coming up the ranks in a few more years. And as parents, sometimes a big step like that can kind of be nerve-wracking. It's been a while since I was at Willowbrook High School, but Principal Dan Kraus invited us parents to Willowbrook over the last month or so for like a student orientation and for parents to get more familiar with how Willowbrook has been operating. And I just have to say that Willowbrook has really made some achievements since I've been there, and they've really turned a stone. And I just wanted to really reach out and thank Principal Dan Kraus for such an amazing job that he's done with his tenure there at the school. I know he's coming close to talking about retirement, but he has made some major achievements and major accomplishments at Willowbrook High School, and it is really cool to see. So I just wanted to say thank you to Principal Kraus. Second of all, leading on Willowbrook, last Friday night was Willowbrook's Silver and Blue Night. As coaches, Trustee Cordova and myself had the honor of running out onto the field with our teams to be recognized before the game started in the activities, which was really cool. It's nice to be involved. It's nice to see other trustees involved with our youth and getting out there and coaching as well. So thank you for Willowbrook for putting on Silver and Blue Night and recognizing us in the community. I appreciate that. And then I would just like to touch base on Trustee Kumar today and just supporting our junior members for our commissions. I think it's really important to involve our youth in what we do here. And I think we are seeing some really good results by the couple of junior commissioners that we already have. Hazana has been awesome, and I've worked with her as well. So I completely would piggyback off of that statement, Trustee Kumar. And I would just say to the community that if you have a youth that is out there that is interested and wants to get involved, reach out to us and find out how we could get them as a junior member on a commission. I think it's really beneficial, and it gives them an insight as to what we do here at local government level. On the 10th annual Love Your Neighbor Day is this coming September 21st. And they've had an overwhelming amount of applicants for needs and on their homes and their lawns. And they're looking for volunteers because of there's so many applicants for work that needs to be done. So if you are able to volunteer on September 21st for the 10th annual Love Your Neighbor Day, please send an email to loveyourneighbor15@yahoo.com, or you could visit www.ccvponline.net to help volunteer for the 10th annual Love Your Neighbor Day. And then lastly, I'm just going to request from the village manager that maybe this week or next week that we can arrange a meeting to discuss parkway trees and landscaping maintenance and VP. That's all I have. Thank you.
Trustee Cordova.
No report today.
Okay. Trustee Kozar.
Excuse me. So earlier in the year, I had asked for quarterly financial updates. Next meeting, if we could get a financial update, that would be great. I am in favor of trying to freeze our village portion of our property tax levy. I have tried to do that every year. I would like to see that succeed this year, but I would like to start talking about our financial position and figure out a way that we can responsibly do that this year. So I think having a public financial update at a board meeting would be a good way to start that conversation. So if we could make that happen. And then perhaps next meeting also, we could talk briefly about Elm Street. Mr. Gardner had come up and spoken in the non-agenda comments. So if we could just kind of get an update as to what is slated for Elm Street and maybe options that could happen. Just a brief couple of minutes on it, so to inform the board next meeting would be great. That's all. Thank you.
Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. Today, on August 26th of each year, we celebrate Women's Equity Day, and I don't really take that lightly. That is a day where we commemorate the 1920 certification of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, granting women the right to vote. And the fact that we have this meeting today, I could not go without mentioning that in my trustee report. I wanted to thank you all, for those of you who came out to the ribbon cutting ceremony for Lufkin Park. It was a beautiful day to celebrate the official opening of that park, and as you've already heard, it is busy. It is already quite loved in the community, so thank you for coming out to that. September 7th, I believe, is Coffee with the Board, and I know you'll hear President Cazone mention that again in a little bit, but I really do ask that residents do come out and chat with us, because we can't be everywhere in the village. And I know that I rely on hearing from you to know what's going on in your section of the village. And we are listening, so please come and have some coffee, have a donut, and come and chat with us. And then piggybacking on our junior commissioners, I sit on the Fund Commission. That was where I was before I became a board member, and that is where I sit as a board liaison. And Azana Jackson was, as far as I know, somebody who has been a junior commissioner, one of the first commissioners, I think, for quite some time. And she has just set the bar so high for what we would expect from other junior commissioners. I really look forward to having the junior commissioners join any of those commissions that they possibly can. I really do think that it's a great experience for our youth to get involved at the village level and get that civic engagement. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Okay. Trustee Kumar.
Only one thing, just a reminder that Movies in the Park are moving to Lufkin, which now that it's open, that's going to be another fun aspect. I'm not going to talk much because can't hear what I have to say basically at this point. So that's it.
Trustee Corkery?
No report this week.
Okay. Move on to the village president's report. As Trustee Alfano said, Saturday, September 7th is Coffee with the Board, so come on out and have a cup of coffee and a donut. They're Cuppy's Donuts, and they're the best around. So this Thursday, August 29th, is the last concert at Cortese Park. I was able to get the last week Strung Out, which was a 70s band. And for us old timers, that's like the best music around. So they were really good. We enjoyed it. And we had a great crowd. This Thursday is Howard and the White Boys, a contemporary blues band. And just reading a little bit about them, they've established a reputation as one of the city's favorite attractions. They have made regular appearances at Buddy's Guys Legends. So Cortese Park at 6:30 this Thursday, the last concert, and hopefully the weather will hold out. We had a beautiful night last Thursday. So, Greg, see what you can do about that, okay? And with that, we'll go to the village manager's report.
I don't really have anything. I was going to give you an update on something but didn't come through, so I'm just going to leave it at, I think we very pleased with the turnout at the Lufkin Park as well, and I think that that was a good example of how we've all worked together, including the rec commission, input from neighbors, and put together a really nice facility. So thank you all for being there.
Thank you. Okay, we move on to item 21, executive session. And may pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. And B is pursuant to 5 ILCS 122C5, purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired, and pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C11 regarding litigation when action against, affecting, or on behalf of the village has been filed and is pending before a court, or when the village finds that an action is probable or imminent. And can I have a motion to go into executive session, and then we will adjourn our regular meeting out of executive session? Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, we have a second. Trustee Alfano?
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, Trustee Kosar,
Yes.
Trustee Corkery,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
President Cassell.
Yes. Okay, so we will adjourn to executive session, and we'll adjourn our meeting out of there. So everyone have a great Labor Day weekend coming up. Forgot to mention that, so enjoy the weekend. Looks like a nice one coming up. We'll see you in 2 weeks.